All right, we're back here in the next weather sphere with the information on a new tornado warning that has just popped up. This is for western in southern New Jersey. Trying to get this up for you right now as we take a look at where this is. Again, this is the same line of storms that has been moving through all day. Let's go ahead and take a look at where these warnings are. I'm going to zoom in here. We've got the laptop going for you. I want to zoom into where this tornado warning has just been issued. Now this is for portions, again, of Salem and Cumberland counties in South Jersey. So we're looking at western Cumberland County and also south central Salem County, and this goes until 12:45. So this is the cell that's causing the tornado warning. The National Weather Service says at 12:22 we had reports of a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It's located over Newport Meadows or near Bridgeton, moving southeast at about 30 miles an hour. So this particular cell right here, just over the Bridgeton area. Let's see if we can get this up on our velocity here. What we're looking at here is for basically two different colors. This is what we call a couplet, and this is what you can see right here, moving just toward Bridgeton. Do you see how we've got the red and then we've got that bright green? That is a couplet. That's an indication that you've got winds flowing in different directions around the center of this supercell thunderstorm. That is an indication of rotation. It is a radar indicated possible tornado. It's moving south and east at 30 miles per hour. So if we track this, let's take a look at it. I'm going to pull it up here on the radar, so we'll track this out for you and let you know where it is going next and where it is right now. So again, you can see a number of severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings. Very dangerous situation ongoing, but this data warning, if you're in this area, if you're in Salem County or western Cumberland County, you need to seek shelter immediately. That means an interior room or a basement, away from windows if you can. Again, very, very heavy rainfall could be kind of hiding a tornado, a rain-wrapped tornado with this potential system moving through. A radar indicated tornado over portions of southern Salem and western Cumberland counties. So again, right now over Bridgeton, so it's moving to the south and east. Let's go ahead and track this cell and we'll tell you where it is headed next. As we look at the tracking here, I'm going to pull it up for you. Moving southeast at 30 miles per hour, so change this to 30 and we will time this out. Here's the center of it, moving over the Bridgeton area. Let's take it right toward the Millville area. So if you're in Bowentown, 1229. If you're in Bridgeton, 1232, this potential tornado producing cell will be right over you. In Goldtown by 1237, in Carmel by 1244, and in Center Grove by 1247. That's where this tornado, this potential tornado, radar indicated tornado is moving. So let's pull this back out, and again, you can see what we're looking at here. We have a number of severe thunderstorm warnings, a number of flash flood warnings with this line of storms moving through, and look at all of this lightning. Also very, very heavy rainfall. So oftentimes you see when you get downpours like this, you get the potential for a tornado that you can't really see coming. It's not like in the Midwest where you can see it on the horizon and it starts moving toward the area and it just really is visible on the horizon. This is going to likely not be something that we see coming, but if you hear that loud kind of train whistle sound, you should definitely seek shelter if you're in this tornado warned area. So where we see this box, you see that highlight there coming up on our screen? It is highlighted, that box right there. This is the potential tornadic cell that is moving from portions of southeastern Salem County into western Cumberland County right now. It is right over the Bridgeton area. There is a ton of lightning with this as well. This goes until 12:45 this afternoon. So anybody in this area, if you have friends or family that live in Bridgeton that may not know that this is coming, make sure you get them on the phone, send them a text, tell them to get into their safe space immediately. Again, interior room or basement, away from windows if you can. This is moving to the south and east at 30 miles per hour. So again, the areas that we're looking at, Bridgeton, over toward Rockville, Rosenhaun, and again, moving at about 30 miles an hour to the south and east. Now, this area has been under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. What I want to see if I can pull up here are our shear tracks, which will show us where the radar indicated rotation with this potential cell was. And we're going to look at the velocity once again as well. So once again, here is what we're looking at as far as this potential tornado or a storm capable of producing a tornado. What we're looking at here is looking at the reds and the greens, where they are contrasted with each other. So this is just west of Bridgeton right now. That is a clear indication that this thunderstorm, this supercell thunderstorm, may have some rotation, could spin up at least a brief tornado, and that can cause, of course, just devastating damage to homes and property and can cause loss of life as well. So seek shelter if you're in eastern Salem and especially western Cumberland County. You can see this cell is just about to cross over that border from Salem into Cumberland County. It's right near the Bridgeton area right now, near Shiloh, near Bowentown. Moving east, Gouldtown is going to be next on that list, and this is moving right along 41. So again, some slowdowns expected there. Do not be out on the roads if you can help it. If you were just planning on leaving your house and you're in this area in the path of this cell, you do not want to get out. Get into that safe space, get into that interior room, away from windows. In the basement is best, lowest level you can get, and seek shelter until this tornado warning has passed. Here are the warnings that are currently in effect for our area. Where you see this blue, that's a flash flood warning. That can be as dangerous as a tornado warning because you're dealing with flash flooding. It can come up on you quickly. We have seen devastating incidents just in our area in the past couple of years where people have been swept away by flash floods. So you don't want to be out on the roads at all. Flash flood warning still in effect around the Philadelphia area, portions of Chester and Delaware counties. We have a number of severe thunderstorm warnings. But again, we are on with you right now in extended coverage because of this tornado warning, which has just popped up as of 12:22, a radar indicated storm, a supercell thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, was right near Bridgeton, and you can see where it was. It started off over Newport Meadows, moving southeast at 30 miles per hour, and it is continuing to move to the south and east. So there's that cell. You can kind of see it being illuminated by the radar there right over Bridgeton right now. So again, if you are in Bridgeton, seek shelter immediately, interior room, safe space away from windows. This is going to be heading toward Millville. Now it is hopefully going to weaken by the time it moves into western Cumberland County. The warning is not in effect for the city of Millville. It's just off to the west. But any spot that lies between Bridgeton and Millville, these are the areas that are in the path of this dangerous thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, radar indicated tornado. Hail potential is about 3/4 of an inch with this one as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the hail tracks. I'm going to pull this up for you as well because we have been seeing some very large hail, and we actually did just get a warning, a notification basically from the Storm Prediction Center saying that this could produce hail in excess of an inch in diameter. We have a lot of hail reports already coming through, and if I can find it for you, what we're going to look at is the hail potential and the track as that system, that potential storm capable of producing a tornado once again moved through the area, and also the shear track. What we look for with a shear track is kind of the path of this tornadic cell as it has been moving east from Salem County, now crossing over into Cumberland County. What we're looking at is this particular cell embedded within a line of heavy thunderstorms. So to the north, heavy rain, where we have a number of flash flood warnings. To the south, we're looking at those again, potentially severe storms with large hail, damaging winds capable of bringing down tree branches and power lines, and also, of course, the potential for a tornado. We talked about this earlier if you were with us through the morning, where we got some sun to break out, right? South Jersey, down into Delaware, where the atmosphere destabilized, where we didn't have the fog lasting quite as long. These are the areas that had the greatest instability and thus the greatest risk for a tornado. So right now, where you see this box right here, this red shaded outline, this is moving from Salem County into Cumberland County as we speak, right over Bridgeton right now, and it's moving east toward Goldsboro and then eventually toward Millville. Hoping to see it weaken. Let's go ahead and pull up our what we call a couplet once again and see what we're seeing here, if it is weakening at all. It does not look like it's weakening.
No, it looks like it's actually elongated, like a double couplet, and it's actually because you have a storm next to a storm. There are actually two storms next to each other.
Yeah, I see that right here. So we're looking at Bowentown and Bridgeton. This is what Tammie's referencing right here. You have this couplet here, and it's a very strong looking couplet. So that's what we call those two different colors. Basically, when you see the red and you see the green, that is a pair of things that you don't want to see. That is an indication of rotation within a supercell thunderstorm. Also, you've got almost that secondary couplet, right, coming in behind it, back towards Shepherd's Hill, where you have that bright green, an indication of this storm is moving very, very quickly. This is high velocity. And you also have the red, which is indicative of winds flowing away from the radar site. So this is moving right over the Bridgeton area. I would say if you are in Bridgeton, if you're not in an interior room, if you're not in a safe space, you need to be there immediately. You need to be there now. This is an incredibly dangerous situation. A tornado warning in effect until 12:45, and this is for especially Cumberland County now. This is starting to shift east of Salem County. So basically right along 41 here, that's where we've got the greatest potential for damage along this path, the path of this supercell thunderstorm moving through. And again, we have not only this storm, this tornado warning storm, but look at all these warnings. Flash flooding, which of course is incredibly dangerous. You do not want to be driving in the Philadelphia area, the greater Philadelphia metro area. Intense rainfall and flash flooding happening as we speak. Also further south, a number of severe thunderstorm warnings. And keep in mind, any one of these severe thunderstorms can also produce damaging winds, power outages, and very dangerous conditions. But of course, the most dangerous warning we have right now is for western Cumberland and eastern Salem counties. This is a tornado warning. It goes until 12:45. It has now been shrunken back to only include Cumberland County, right? So we're going to continue to see this warning follow the center of the circulation. Right now it is directly over Bridgeton, New Jersey. Bridgeton, New Jersey has a potentially tornadic supercell thunderstorm right over it. And again, you can see the box around it, and it's moving to the south and east at about 30 miles per hour. So once again, what we're going to do is pull up our tracking here and take you through the timing of this, because this is again, southeast, 30 miles per hour. I apologize for the green box that's going to pop up here, but you can kind of see which areas are next in line for this potentially, again, tornado-producing thunderstorm. Bridgeton's at 12:37, Goldtown at 12:43, Carmel at 12:49, Center Grove at 12:53, and then Millville, you'll see this at 12:58. Tammie, if you want to join me over here, we can do this. We can both go back and forth here, because there is a lot going on with these storms. It's not just this one tornado warning. It is, of course, a number of thunderstorms moving through the region. And we've been looking, Tammie and I were looking at this radar all day, right?
Yeah, all morning.
And we've seen,
poor Kate, we're looking at going, why didn't they issue a warning on that one? Why didn't they issue a warning on another one? Why am I standing like
where are you? Yes, where are you right now?
You know what?
We will get Tammie on camera here in just a moment.
But we talked about that. We saw couplets, and we kept thinking there is enough spin. We've talked about that all morning in the atmosphere. So there is that possibility of something spinning up. And just moments ago, when I finished the weathercast, we did not have that tornado warning, and now we do. And that was because, again, just enough spin in the atmosphere with these particular storms. Yeah. Now I think you'll be able to see them.
I think you will as well. Here's the hail track I was talking about, because in addition to the tornado warning, we did just get a convective discussion from the SPC talking about the hail, and you can see that track there. That looks like a pretty dangerous. And
1 inch hail, you get hit in the head with 1 inch hail, it's going to hurt. You're going to feel it.
You crack your windshield. It's definitely a dangerous thing.
We also have a lot of rain. You know what? I'm going to step over here, and they can actually take the other box over here so that you can pull up some fresh information.
Okay, fantastic.
And kind of get everything going over there. So,
Nikki, if you want to swing it over to Tammie on
Nikki,
the left
we're
side
going
of
to swing over here to. We're going to put up Weather 3 over here. We're going to switch over.
And I'm going to look up, I'm going to pull up these shear tracks.
Okay, these are still, Kate wants to get some fresh information up. These are still the hail tracks that we're looking at. In the darker blue, you see that is the larger hail. So wherever you see this, that is the larger hail. What you're looking at live, that picture, that is Center City right now as the storm is crossing the city. Now, I do think the worst of it is past the city. It's moving into South Jersey. So you have really got to be on guard in South Jersey. Here's what we're looking at right now. We're looking at this entire system. We have a couple of watch boxes here, and we have the severe thunderstorm watch. The tornado warning itself is supposed to expire at 12:45. So we're hoping that that will expire and we will not have to deal with this anymore. So here you go. That storm does look like it has weakened. There's still a lot of intense lightning with it. We do still have a severe thunderstorm warning in the area. And if you look at the couplet is just kind of messy now. There's not a whole lot to it. It's not looking as intense as it did. And that couplet, Kate, we were explaining where you see the red and the green next to it. The brighter the red and brighter the green, the tighter the couplet is going to be. Yeah. Now it's kind of getting muddy. It's kind of elongating out, and it's probably the whole storm is spinning at this point. So it is just a huge supercell that is spinning. It may not even have anything coming down from the base, and so that is something that we're watching very closely there. The other thing that we're watching. Well, not that one. Seek shelter. There we go.
What do you want? Tell me what you want to see, and I will pull it up for you.
I actually I have this up. This is why I'm trying to control with the clicker on this one, but it doesn't want to control. So anyway, this is a look at what we're dealing with the storm, and it's going to be moving through. Now we have had a lot of rain with the storm. I think if we look at the rainfall amounts, and just in the last 3 hours, as this storm has moved through the area, you can see that immediately. If you look at where that path is, we have some places that have probably picked up 1 inch or possibly 2 of rain moving through the area, and you can still see the intense lightning. I don't know, Kate, if we're able
some of these storm reports.
These are the storm reports, yes, and we do have more of them. They're just kind of piling on, and a lot of this is for wind damage and downpours and some fires and hail. So that is what we're dealing with all of these. In fact, look at this one right here. We've got the flooding, and we have that flash flood warning all up and down the I-95 corridor because of that heavy heavy, heavy rain.
This says water rescues taking place due to flash flooding on Chester Pike in Norwood. So very dangerous down in Delaware County, Upper Darby, flash flooding with multiple streets closed and not being able to drive on those streets either. So in addition to the tornado, it's very dangerous.
And we still do have that tornado warning. Now that thing is supposed to expire at 12:45. So this is continuing on at this point. And you can see it. The pink, that is the severe thunderstorm watch. That's until 5 o'clock. Where you see the gold, severe thunderstorm warnings. But this is what we're concerned with. We're looking at this storm right here. And this is the one moving out of Salem County into Cumberland County. And it looks like, I mean, the storm itself is still very compact. Although I will tell you the couplet did not look as tight as it looked earlier. Now this is moving. In fact, let's draw, if we can, like a squall line, like a track on it, Kate. And you can see where it's moving at 35 miles an hour. You're going to be dealing with this in Millville. You're going to be dealing with this in perhaps toward
Laurel Lake there.
Yep, Laurel
Nanticoke,
Lake. That entire area. And this is moving in your direction. So we want you to seek shelter. We want you to get away from the windows, lowest level of your house. Any of these storms that come by, don't stand by the window. There's a lot of intense lightning. We've already heard about fires with some of these storms. And you can see this particular storm right here is the one that is spinning at this point. Does not mean one of the others can't spin. Kate and I saw couplets earlier today. So we're watching them, especially this one. Kate, do you want to take this one right here, the one that is kind of moving off of I-95, and take a look at that? I mean, this one now has elongated, but there's no reason why we wouldn't see something popping up on this one as well. There's hail with this one and damaging winds. So this is something we're worried about. Okay, Kate, why don't you take it back to the center box.
All right, let's take a look at what we're seeing right now. So we've got a number of these watches and warnings. A severe thunderstorm
Nikki,
watch.
let's swing around to the center box so we can.
Yeah, come on over here with the camera. The tornado warning goes until 12:45, so that's another 4 minutes or so. We'll see if they extend that. They have not extended it just yet. I think, Tammie, as you were saying, because of that weakening in the circulation, the weakening of that couplet that we saw. Let's go ahead and pull it up here on the velocity picture. We're not seeing that the bright red and the bright green. There is still a signature there. It's right there.
There is the signature.
Where you see this over Goldtown, and down further south. That's what we're looking for.
Well, what you're looking at is it's surrounded by green. And so when you get them that close together, that's the winds in opposing directions, and that would be the circulation that you would see.
Right, and that's the cell that could drop that tornado down to the ground.
Exactly.
Now, there is the potential that it's just elevated. There may not be a tornado on the ground. This is a radar indicated. This is what the radar sees. When the National Weather Service sees that, they immediately issue a tornado warning, and that's what prompted it.
And this is a piece of that storm system. It stayed together overnight. It was in the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes. This thing stayed together, came in our area pretty much as a bow line. And prior to this, overnight, this was a tornado maker, this particular line.
Absolutely. And I mean, what you're seeing here, when you look at the reflectivity here, that purple color, that is an indication that it's either producing incredibly heavy rain or gigantic hail, right? Because what you're seeing is the reflection off those hydrometeors, either raindrops or hailstones. And in addition to producing a potential tornado, it is likely producing 1-inch diameter hail, maybe in excess of that.
I would guess so. And especially because of the fact that, I mean, we rarely see these deeper tones. And so that is bumping into something. The radar is bumping into something very solid, and it is not just rain. So we're looking at this having a pretty decent hail core, damaging winds. Besides the tornado, damaging winds are possible.
And we just got an update. They have extended this tornado warning now into parts of Cape May and Atlantic County. So you see the box around it now until 1:30 this afternoon for Atlantic, Cape May, and Cumberland counties.
It is not moving quickly, and that's the problem. Is that this particular cell has slowed down as fast as you saw this line moving, and it hit that area we were watching earlier. This entire area of South Jersey and down to the shore, sunshine. There was sunshine that broke out across the city. We saw those brighter skies, and that's just what it takes to make this sort of percolate the atmosphere and create all of this. I mean, it is a very juicy atmosphere out there right now.
And we can look at what we call thunderstorm fuel. It's convective energy, and what we saw is basically those areas that saw any brightening earlier today. Temperatures really ramped up, and you can see where the greatest likelihood of severe weather is, and it's mainly across southern Delaware. So another line is likely going to come through this area later on today.
And we're expecting that perhaps later this afternoon and this evening. We do have the thunderstorm watch, severe thunderstorm watch, not a tornado watch, but a severe thunderstorm watch until 5 o'clock. And that doesn't mean you can't get a tornado with a severe thunderstorm watch. So that is something to take a look at. We're in the warm sector too, so we're watching temperatures that are on the rise right now.
Right, and we've got those diverging winds because you had the east wind this morning, but then out ahead of the system, you started to develop that southwest wind, and you saw where that kind of convergence zone was, and that's the area that could start to spin a thunderstorm like this.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes sense. So just to recap, if you're just joining us, we do have 2 tornado warnings. It's the same cell though. One goes until 12:45. That's going to drop off here in 3 seconds. But it has been expanded. It's shifted a little further north because the actual center of the cell is a little further north. It's this one right here that you see over Bridgeton. So now until 1:30 this afternoon, we are in a tornado warning, and we will be with you through that.
Let's track that out again so that anybody that sees that, because what's happened is this storm has slowed down considerably. That's why this is now extended for another 45 minutes, because it's got to go all the way across land. The other thing is that this could be actually regenerating itself. So even if it did have a funnel cloud drop, it could go back up, and then a secondary one could form, because that's what they do. They don't just have one funnel cloud or one tornado. So we could be watching that, and that may be why those couplets looked a little bit muddy and didn't look as clear as they were. But I know the last one you showed me, that last couplet, it was a pretty decent look at a couplet. I mean, it was really well formed.
It was. And if we track this cell out now, again, if you're in Millville, you need to be in your safe space right now. You need to be away from windows, interior room, basement, 1256. So within 10 minutes, this cell is going to be right over Millville. Very populated city here in South Jersey.
Because these are loud storms. So much lightning with this as well.
Yes, lots of thunder. We heard it come through the city when this line came through Philadelphia. Very heavy rain. It's likely going to be a rain wrap tornado, so you're not going to be able to walk outside your front door and see this coming. You just have to get down, get low as you can, away from those windows. Laurel Lake is about 1259. Port Elizabeth by 106. We're looking at Jones Mill by 109, Halberton 114, and Hunter's Mill at 117. I'm going to pull up what the National Weather Service said about this. It's moving southeast, again 30 miles an hour. Hazard is tornado and quarter-size hail. Again, that's about an inch.
That's a little more than an inch.
A little more, yeah.
And that's how you kind of measure it. So I wouldn't be surprised to hear that it's a little larger than that, even an inch and a half hail with something like this. This thing is actually moving very slowly. It has all the moisture that it needs. It has an environment that is really soupy out there, and lots of cape. I mean, we talk about this. That's the thunderstorm fuel.
We now have another tornado warning, Tammie, here for portions
that's the
of
one
Gloucester
we just
County.
Talked about, that one that came out of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That's that same cell, yes.
So this is over near Victory Lakes right now. Let me pull up the latest information on this newest tornado warning. We now have 2 active tornado warnings. This one until 1:15 for parts of Atlantic, Camden, and Gloucester counties. So this is a very populated area, obviously, in South Jersey. These are our South Jersey suburbs. Tornado warning for Atlantic, Camden, Gloucester counties. Some spots include Hamilton, Weymouth, Victory Lakes, Mays Landing, Elwood, Magnolia, Folsom, and Collings Lakes. If you're in any of these areas or near them, you need to seek shelter.
I'm going to step off so that I can track the second tornado warning.
Let's do it.
And get that set up over here, and you can continue on the first one.
So here's what we're looking at now. 2 tornado warnings in effect currently, 2 separate cells, part of the same system, right? So this one has just moved across the Philadelphia area, came over I-95, very heavy rain, tons of lightning, and now we are seeing a radar indicated tornado. So what I want to pull up for you here is what we call the velocity. This is where we look for that spin. And again, you can see a couple of couplets here. What we have here, this is the first one, headed toward Millville by about 1256 or so. That's when this is going to be over Millville. You see that bright red shading, you see that bright green shading further south. That is an indication that this is rotating, and it almost has some green to the north of it as well. So there may be some serious rotation going on, possibly in 2 separate parts of that supercell thunderstorm. But here's the latest one that just popped up. And again, this is looking pretty decent as well as far as the rotation is concerned. You can see the bright green and the red next to it. This is right near Victory Lakes. This is moving through portions of Gloucester and Camden counties. So we're looking at northwestern Atlantic County, south central Camden County, and east central Gloucester County. These are the areas that are in line for this next tornado warning. So 2 active tornado warnings. The first one was the same cell that moved through the Bridgeton area. It has now moved east and headed toward portions of Cumberland and Atlantic counties. Our second tornado warning, the one you see right here, Atlantic, Camden, and Gloucester counties, very, very dangerous because again, this is moving through a more populated area than the one further to the south. It does have rotation with it, and it has a history of producing not only a lot of lightning, very dangerous cloud to ground lightning, but incredibly heavy rainfall and very large hail as well. So let's track this one out. We're going to see where this one is headed next. I'm going to pull up our single box here and start with the further north tornado warning, the most recent one that just popped up for us. Parts of eastern Camden and Gloucester counties headed quickly to Atlantic County. And again, you can see this is basically moving right over 322, right over the Atlantic City Expressway. Very dangerous area. This is a Friday. People might have seen the forecast for the weekend. We're going to be in the 80s tomorrow. tomorrow and are headed down the shore. You might be out on the roads right now. This is an incredibly dangerous supercell thunderstorm. This is moving at about the same speed. This is about 11 miles north of Vineland right now. It's moving southeast at 30 miles an hour. So we're going to track this one for you and see where the areas that are kind of in line for this next potential, again, radar indicated tornado. Here are the spots we're looking at. Collings Lakes, 12:54. In about 4 minutes, this cell will be over you. In Folsom, 12:58. In Barnard at 1:04. Weymouth at 1:10. Mullica by 1:14. And in Devonshire by 1:18. These are the areas that this particular cell, this embedded cell, and what you have to notice is this is just one embedded cell within a big arcing line of thunderstorms. So the entire line of storms is severe warned. It has a severe thunderstorm warning, and you can kind of see that bowing shape to it, an indication that we're likely getting damaging winds, damaging straight line winds at the same time as you get these supercells that embed themselves within that bowing structure and start to rotate, and then they drop a tornado to the ground. So not only do we have the risk of damage from a tornado, and the cells that have been producing tornadoes or have had tornado warnings with them, they've been relatively small, as Tammie mentioned, compact little cells, but the overall arcing bowing line of storms is not compact. It is a very, very large area that's being impacted by this. So basically right now from lower Bucks County all the way down into Salem and Cumberland counties, we've got this bowing line of storms capable of producing wind gusts in excess of 50, even 60 miles per hour. And now we have 2 active tornado warnings. The first one to the north until 1:15. That's for portions of eastern Gloucester, Camden counties, and western Atlantic County. The second tornado warning, again, further to the south here, Millville, right on into portions of Cape May County, just barely into Cape May County. But what's interesting is that they saw enough rotation with that cell because it initially had a tornado warning until 12:45 over parts of Salem and Cumberland counties. They clearly saw enough rotation within that cell to extend and expand the tornado warning, and that's what the National Weather Service is looking for. They're looking for that rotation, and they are issuing these tornado warnings accordingly. So right now we have the first one until 1:15. Here's the area that's contained within that box there, parts of Atlantic, Camden, and Gloucester counties. It's got hail upwards of 3/4 of an inch, possibly over an inch in diameter. We've seen some reports of hail over an inch in diameter with this system. Further to the south, this goes until 1:30 this afternoon, a tornado warning for portions of Salem, it's started to move east of you. It's now more Cumberland County, western Cape May, and western Atlantic. So 2 separate cells impacted by this tornado warning. You're also seeing some of our cameras here showing flooding on the roads. We've had reports of flooding, closing a ramp off of 476, I-95. We had a report of lightning causing a fire in Berks County. We've had reports of flash flooding and active water rescues taking place in Norwood, Delaware County. We have that active tornado warning. I'm getting updates from the National Weather Service now. They are keeping that tornado warning in effect until 1:15. So that northern cell that is moving through portions of eastern Camden and western Gloucester counties. Let's time that out for you once again. This is just east of Philadelphia. Now you can see to the north and west, Philadelphia points west, pretty much done with the severe threat. The rain is already moving out. We're actually seeing some brightening on that southern camera there. You can see the leftover flooding, but brightening up on the back edge of this. But what I want to draw your attention to, first and foremost, look at this bowing shape. You see how this area of storms is just kind of arcing? Where you're seeing the strongest winds is right at the arc, and right at the arc of that line of storms, that's where that potential rotation has been detected. So right here, you've got the bowing structure, so this is producing damaging winds as it moves east. But this cell right here has developed its own rotation. It's almost a discrete cell embedded within a larger bowing structure of storms. Tons and tons of lightning with this. This is a highly electrified line of storms moving east, and if you're in Mays Landing, you should be in your safe space. If you're in Victory Lakes, you should be in your safe space. If you're in Winslow, if you're in Folsom, down toward Buena Vista, it is coming your way next. And let's take a look at where we're seeing that rotation right now. I want to pull up the velocity. This is what we look for. Look at that couplet. That is an immensely dangerous cell we're looking at right now. Look at these bright colors. Remember we talked about the brighter the green and the brighter the red. I'm telling you right now, if you're in Collings Lakes, this is right over top of you. This is a rotating supercell thunderstorm embedded within a larger line of dangerous severe thunderstorms, but this is the strongest couplet we've seen today. Now, Tammie and I have been watching this line move east. It has been producing suspected rotation. There were a couple that looked like they could have been tornado warned. Tammie, this is the strongest one we've seen by far. I mean, look at those
that
colors.
Couplet, I would be really surprised if there isn't a funnel cloud spotted or we don't have damage on the ground. I'm going to ask Nikki to move it over here, and I'm going to ask the director to put Weather 1 up here on the wall, because I want Kate to be able to look at things like perhaps the CC to see if we see anything like that or any damage from this, anything at all from this. I just want to give you an overview right now. We have the 2 tornado warnings going. They are embedded within a giant severe thunderstorm warning that covers a large portion of South Jersey. And then the pink you see, a severe thunderstorm watch, and that goes until 5 o'clock tonight. Now here are the storms, and you can see this red box. This was the first tornado warned storm that we had today, and they have extended that now until I believe 1:15, Kate? 1:30. And then you see to the north of it, you can see the other red box. We were talking about the storm that came through Philadelphia. That again also, when you see a bow like that, sometimes on the apex of it, you will actually get some of these damaging winds, and then there can be enough rotation perhaps just to the south side of that, where this one is located, that we would possibly see the spin and a tornado spin up. We also have a lot of lightning with this. I got to tell you again, the lightning may be an extremely dangerous part of this entire event today. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on. All the lightning, the storms coming out of the city. You can actually see this gold box. That is the severe thunderstorm warning for much of South Jersey. Not Cape May itself, but this goes all the way into Atlantic City and northward. And we have the 2 cells. This one coming out of Salem County into Cumberland County, and the one coming out of Philadelphia into Camden, Gloucester counties. That one we are very worried about. That is a very, very strong storm. So here you go. You can see this storm cell, and you can get a good idea of where this is headed past Millville, and this is now going to continue on toward perhaps Atlantic City. I think that's about where we're looking right now. And then the one to the north, we are looking at, look at all these lightning strikes. These are within the last 15 minutes, and they just keep popping up. So this is a continual filling of lightning. I bet when we're done, we're going to end up with thousands of lightning strikes across the area. Then you see this red box. This is the one that we are really highly worried about because of the couplet Kate was just showing you. I mean, that is something that you have to be concerned with. So we have those 2 boxes. We have this tornado warned storm and the one coming out of Philadelphia. Now, this is the couplet. This is the one that we're not quite as worried about. I don't want to say it's not worrisome, but it is not as strong a couplet. This was the original tornado warned storm. Take a look at the difference in colors. This one may have some damaging winds on the backside because of how long you see this red line, but as this bright green next to that red, that lets us know that there is some spin associated with this, and this is in effect until 1:15, Kate? Is that
1:15, yeah.
It is moving to the east. Both are moving at about 30 miles an hour, but they have slowed down. They should, if they were moving as fast as the original line of storms, they should have already cleared South Jersey, but they have not done so yet. So that's something we're worried about. The other thing we're watching is the flooding potential. Look at the blue boxes. Those are all flash flood warnings. That is for Gloucester and Camden counties, into Salem and Cumberland County. This is up and down I-95 because we have seen some very heavy rainfall. So you need to be careful. If you're going out, watch for ponding. I would imagine all the usual spots, the Schuylkill, the other places, they probably have very flooded areas. You're going to have to turn around. Don't drive through anything that is moving. We want you to turn around. Don't drown. This is a look at how much rain. This is just the rainfall in the last 3 hours or so, and you can see these dark shades of red. Those 2 storm cells that wound up being the tornado warned storm cells created these tracks of this very heavy rain. And look, there are some places with very little rain. At central Delaware, nothing. You got nothing. So this is going to continue toward the shore, and that is something we're very worried about. Kate, do you have any new information on this?
We are looking right now at, I just want to pull up that couplet once again. And Nikki, if you could swing back over to my monitor here, I'll show you what we're looking at. And Tammie mentioned it, but again, this is looking looking incredibly, incredibly dangerous. I'm going to pull it up for you as soon as this loads for me. We're moving a little faster than the computers here today.
That's okay.
There's a lot going on here.
We've got lots of stuff.
Again, look at all of these warnings. It looks like, do we have a third? Look at, this is.
That's classic.
That is a classic looking, and look how bright that color is. Not only is it the couplet and the rotation, but just the velocity in and of itself, how quickly or how strong those winds are contained within that storm. That is a very dangerous looking.
I would expect also, when you get a lot of lightning, you also end up with storms with hail. Well, I would expect that with all this lightning, we are getting that hail, and I would expect that this is going to be an enormous hail producer. I'm not saying about giant hail, but we're talking about a lot of hail. People could see it piling up, on the ground as you walk around. I mean, we've seen that happen before.
Absolutely.
That is also, if you look at the leading edge of this right here, Kate, that is usually what you see with a microburst. And you and I have seen this before, is the damaging winds coming out of this. And yes, it can produce a tornado, hail, damaging winds, and intense lightning all within one storm.
Right, those outflow boundaries, you get those winds that kind of hit the surface. A lot of times you get flooding rain with that as well, and that can knock down trees in that kind of arcing shape that we see. And now we have that rotation as well. Do we have a third tornado warning? Because it might be pulling this one up twice, or maybe they split it, but it does look like just two. 3 of them showed up for me when I was zoomed out here, but I just want to make sure this was only 2.
But maybe we need to
2
put a
tornado warnings
again.
Let's take another look at where it's headed next. So again, here's what we're looking at. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that couplet up for you again so you can see the exact center of this tornado warn cell. This is moving into portions of western Atlantic County very quickly, and it is an incredibly dangerous looking supercell thunderstorm. It's right here. Tornado warning goes until 1:15 for portions of Atlantic, Camden, and Gloucester counties. This is just shifting. So right over Buena Vista, headed toward Weymouth. It's headed toward Mays Landing as well. Where you're seeing kind of the center, where you've got those two colors opposing one another, that's going to be your center of circulation, and that is moving pretty quickly to the east. Not as quickly as we would like it to move to the east. It's moving to the southeast at about 30 miles per hour. So let's track this for you. What we're going to do is pull this out and take you through the next few cities and towns that are in line for this potential tornado. And I got to tell you, based on the colors, based on the way this couplet is looking on the velocity signature, I would expect that there will be potential tornado damage from this one. This one does not look elevated. Looks like it may actually be producing an on-ground tornado. Weymouth at 110, Emmelsville 113, Mays Landing you're looking at 1:20 p.m., Egg Harbor City 1:24. So within the next 25 to 30 minutes, Vienna Gardens, you'll get that eventually. But also notice the roads that are really kind of impacted by this. There's a lot of traffic here. People start going down the shore. We only have a week until Memorial Day weekend. People are out, maybe got to jump on the weekend. It's going to be warm tomorrow. Incredibly dangerous to be out on the roads with this cell moving through. So any of these areas from Buena Vista on south and east, you need to be in a safe space. You need to be away from windows. You need to be in the lowest level of your house. Kids in school, hopefully if your kids are in school, you can send a text. You can get in touch with them somehow. I'm sure the authorities, the teachers and administrators are doing what they can to get everybody safe, everybody into the hallways and away from doors and windows, because this is, again, looking like a very, very dangerous cell. I want to pull up the hail tracks as well, because we do likely have the threat for large and dangerous hail from this system. We actually had a special statement from the Storm Prediction Center about South Jersey about the potential for very, very large hail, and you can see the hail tracks with these. So in addition to producing suspected tornadoes, look at these tracks and the bright purple, and especially here, this cell that went through Bridgeton and now has kind of re-strengthened. You can see how it was looking strong right as it went through portions of Salem County. We saw that couplet start to weaken a little bit and get a little muddier, and then it did re-strengthen just east of Bridgeton, now moving toward Millville. The hail tracks are indicating possible 1-inch plus diameter hail moving through with that line of storms. And then, of course, we have the tornado warning. So if you're just joining us here at 1 o'clock, this is what we have going on. We are tracking 2 tornado warnings. We are watching these 2 spots in a tornado warning currently across South Jersey. So where you see these red boxes, this one here with this cell embedded in a larger Boeing line segment of thunderstorms. We also have a secondary tornado warning still in effect for portions of Cumberland County. That's going to take you right into portions of Atlantic and Cape May counties as well. In the last few frames of radar, it does look like this is starting to maybe speed up a little bit. We haven't gotten any update on the speed of these cells from the National Weather Service, but again, what we're looking at are two distinct cells, both capable of producing a tornado, both possibly likely having already produced a tornado. I think this northern cell here over portions of eastern Camden and Gloucester, western Atlantic, does look a little stronger than the further southern cell. However, both are incredibly dangerous thunderstorms. And not only that, we've got all of this heavy rain and all of this lightning as well. Very, very dangerous cloud to ground lightning. You don't want to be outside anywhere near these storms. You need to be in a safe space. Seek shelter immediately. Cumberland County, western Cape May, Atlantic, and right around Egg Harbor City. That's where this northernmost cell is headed next. Let's swing back over to Tammie.
I'm going to swing back over. Kate's going to actually get some more information on what's going on. I know that Chief Meteorologist Bill Kelly just came into the building, so he'll be joining us with all of this very shortly. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on. I need you to go ahead and put that back on weather. Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have these two cells right here. The larger one is the one that went through Philadelphia. It's now in Camden and Gloucester County. The smaller one right here is the original tornado warned cell. This is the one that is actually moving out of Salem and into Cumberland County. And all of this, again, is within a giant severe thunderstorm box. So even if you are not right where the rotation is, there is every likelihood that you will get intense lightning, very heavy rain, possibly damaging winds, and large hail. So it's all on the table today with all of these. Let's go first to this one. Now, this is the original warned storm. It has moved, but not a whole lot. Kate said that it is starting to speed up, which would be good news, but this thing is just sort of meandering and heading a little bit more to the east than to the southeast. And we are watching all of this as we go through the next, say, 20 minutes to a half hour. We're watching that this is going to be to Stillman, this is going to be to Warner's Mill, this is going to be to Dennis. This is going to be tracking in that direction. If you are in any of the communities that you see listed in the box or anywhere that you see in this this red shaded area, and I know it doesn't pick up every town, they're listed into the green box, take shelter immediately. I mean, the intense lightning, you don't want to go. I'm going to say this, you do not want to go outside and try to see these storms. Kate and I have mentioned it. They are rain wrapped. If there is a tornado, you will not see it, you won't get a picture of it, and it will be dangerous because you will not see the thing coming. So this is what we're dealing with. We're looking at this storm again that is moving off to the east, and it is turning a little bit more east than southeast. It looks like we're going to see this into perhaps even toward Ocean City. This is going to be turning in that direction, the storm. So we're worried about that. This is what we're looking at as far as a couplet. We are looking at the intense shades of red and green. And more importantly, we have a lot of red, which says we have a lot of damaging wind coming out of this particular system. You can see the red and the green side by side, but all along this line, you see this red, and that indicates that we actually have some very damaging winds associated with this. And the rain, we talked about the rain, heavy rain, flooding. A lot of roadways are seeing ponding and flooding. Please take it easy. Perhaps don't even go out on the roads until this is gone. Let this storm system get offshore. There may be more storms coming this evening, late this afternoon and this evening on the backside of this. They look like they're trending a little further to the south than the Philadelphia area, so a little bit further south and east, but we are very concerned about this. Okay, Kate, I know you and Bill have pulled some stuff up. What are you looking at over there right now?
Well, we are looking once again at this cell that you mentioned, Tammie, is moving through portions of Atlantic County right now. Right. This has been scaled back, and Chief Meteorologist Bill Kelly joins me now. Bill, this cell, and Tammie, this cell is looking incredibly dangerous, and they have shaved back the warning a little bit, so it's now Atlantic County that I think is really kind of the focus of both tornado warnings, actually. Sure. Cumberland and Atlantic counties.
You know what, I got to tell you, and thank you, Kate's been here since 3 o'clock in the morning. I was driving in.
I got my flat shoes on.
There you go.
We both do.
I was driving in, listening to the coverage, and I can tell you mentioned a lot. Hey, you know, out on the roads, you got the torrential rain, and I was in the situation, and many of you are, that I needed to be on the road. But you nailed it, because you couldn't even see in front of you. I'm literally going down Route 70 in South Jersey at probably 10 miles per hour, windshield wipers on high, and not even being able to see anything. So don't go outside.
Don't try to go see this.
Right.
Everybody wants to snap a picture. This will not be a beautiful funnel like you see in Kansas. This is rain wrapped. You're going to see a blob of rain coming at you. And if you are not in your safe spot, you could have damaging winds. Even not necessarily a tornado, but damaging winds. Because look at this. Look at that line of red right there, Bill.
Sure,
and Kate, this is the line of red. So this is not a giant couplet.
I got to throw a tracker on. My bad.
Keep talking.
Keep talking.
He's going to disappear. We don't want him to disappear. The weather's atmosphere likes to do these things. But this line right here of red, this is wind coming out of this system. This is not a giant couplet. The couplets are tiny. Kate, go back to one of the couplets so that people can see the difference between something like that and some of
I
these
was kind of thinking that, it looks like the couplets may be weakening a bit, and now we're looking at more of that kind of damaging wind bowing segment. More
microburst, a line of damaging wind, straight line winds coming out of this. And so who's in the track of these straight line winds? Because that can be more damaging than a brief tornado. That is something to be worried about.
This is moving south and east at about 30 miles per hour. So let's just kind of draw this line so you can really see where that bowing structure is there. I think if you're in Egg Harbor City, you're probably seeing this very shortly, Egg Harbor Township. Let's take a look at some of these cities, right? So Vienna Gardens, Egg Harbor, West Egg Harbor, that's about 119. Mays Landing 114, so that's in about 5 minutes from now.
We're talking 5 to 10 minutes, and you know what? This is going to be one of those storms where all of a sudden things are quiet, and even if you went outside, it might be quiet, and then it is going to come through. It is going to sound like a train coming through. The wind will come up so quickly, and that's what's dangerous. Stay away from the big trees. Get in your house where you're safe, because that line of wind is going to be very, very strong coming through the area.
Well, that was another thing that I heard you guys talking about. Is it's a rain wrap scenario. I'll step on in here.
Yeah, go for it.
And you're gonna have to hear it, because you're not going to be able to see anything coming at you like this.
And you don't want to go out and try to take a video of it. There's a ton of lightning. It's an incredibly dangerous situation.
There'll be no video of this. Nobody's going to get a picture, and if it is fake.
Yeah, and so we're dealing with the three things. I mean, good afternoon to all of you, as I'm just now joining you. You got the flood warnings that are there, the torrential rain, the lightning, as we talked about, and of course now we've been tracking this tornado warning that started shortly after about 12:30, 12:22.
We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, which now encompasses basically the entirety of South Jersey and the shore points.
Yeah, so that's the National Weather Service just kind of looking at that, saying we have this big storm and there's that rotation.
That is the wind, but that is that wind, that long line that we see, the red that was on there when Kate pulled it up into velocity. That is a microburst. That is wind coming out of this thing. This is what's dangerous. Right now we are at 110. Some schools are going to start releasing students. Now they'll probably hold students, but over the next hour, this is going to make its way slowly through South Jersey. So all of you need to kind of keep an eye on things, know what's going on with your child's school, just so that you're not out on the road trying to get them and that they're not walking home in the middle of all this lightning. But I got to tell you, it is a lot of lightning. Look at that lightning.
Yeah, there it is. I was just going to sample that as you're talking. And we're looking at reports here from the National Weather Service coming down, flooding on US 130 southbound, I-76, Gloucester County. 2 right lanes of 3 closed down.
Well, I'm sure parts of the Schuylkill are closed down. I'm sure there's a lot of the usual places underneath the train tracks where it dips down, where the roads dip down near Narberth, places like that. I'm sure they have filled up with water as well. But now this is heading into South Jersey. 300
just within that box that I sampled.
And that's in the last 15 minutes, Bill.
Right, exactly. And cloud to ground strikes, not anything that was within the cloud as well.
And we've had reports of some fires because of lightning. Now they were north and west of Philly. They were up into Berks County, some of this may be happening as this storm passes as well.
And one thing to note is that new severe thunderstorm warning that just popped up for all the shore points, Atlantic County, Cape May County, that had wording that basically said wind gusts to 70 miles per hour, which is an additional wording that they add when this is looking like a particularly dangerous situation and a potential tornado with any of that.
So what I'd like to do, I'm going to take a sample here and I'm going to scroll out just the entirety of the front line and let's just kind of take it out just over the next, say, hour or so, because this is what we have.
It's everybody
in this area. Yeah, I mean, look at all the lightning here, and it extends out to the shore locations. And so you can see here, Egg Harbor 124, Atlantic City 142.
This is going down the shore.
Yeah,
and down the shore. This is the area that, if you recall, and Kate and I were talking about this, light. Sun, bright. I mean, there was no cloud cover. They saw the sun come out. Here in the city, we saw it come out. So this is why this is able to strengthen. As it moved toward the Philadelphia area, it is now strengthening as it heads into South Jersey, not necessarily with more tornadic activity, but with the straight line winds. You can see a well-formed bow line there. I mean, that is incredible.
And when we see that, as meteorologists, when we see that the storm kind of start to make that bow, as Tammie just mentioned, that's an indicator that those winds are really pushing out. And you start looking at that going, okay, yeah, this is more than then potentially 58, which is the classifiably
Right.
severe level for winds, 60, even 70 as we were
Well, a
talking
70
about.
mile an hour wind is, I mean, we don't hear about that very often around here. And 70, 80 mile an hour winds, those are very high winds coming out of these bow echoes. I mean, we've seen straight line winds as high as 100 miles an hour. It is so rare. 70 mile an hour straight line winds, extremely rare. So if that's what this produces, that is something to be concerned about.
Just a new report down from the National Weather Service. Trees and wires down along Route 54 near Hamilton. Time estimated from the radar in Hamilton. That was in the tornado warning, was it not?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's go. What I want to do now, let's put the warnings back on. Let's just kind of reposition. Here's where we stand right now with the active severe thunderstorm warnings.
And the 2 tornado warnings.
Yep, there they are, right there. And of course, we're tracking this very closely as this storm system moves out. I mean, Hamilton, right there in that warning. And then the brown or the orange here is the severe thunderstorm.
Now you notice this severe thunderstorm warning has been pared back as well, because the original one was up along I-95. So it was here in Philadelphia and all along I-95, and now that has pared back, which means that this storm system is now slowly moving away from Philadelphia, but it is headed through central South Jersey and toward the shore. You got to get inside. You got to stay away from the windows. Make sure that your pets are inside. Don't let the kids outside. And check with your child's school. If you're in this area, you want to know what they're doing. Are they holding your child? Are they on a bus? Are they waiting outside for you? They cannot be outside in this lightning.
What do you got? Okay, thank you. Okay, switch over to Max 1 here.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you so much. You got it. You got it.
Okay.
And so, yeah, what I also want to do here as we're looking at that, yeah, please. So we like to tell you where the warning is, where it's going to impact you as well, but also where you are in the clear. So I want to take a minute and just show you that, because we've been on the air here covering this. You're hearing a lot of thunder in your area, I'm sure, if you're anywhere within this zone.
Bill, ask them if they can switch over to Weather 1, because that's where we've got the new graphics for.
There you go. There we go. Weather 1 right there. Thank you very much, Kate. All right, let me put this back on here. But where has the storm gone? Where is it over? And so what I want to do is show you the back end of this. So you folks from essentially the Gloucester, Camden County line and areas west, for now, you are not in the warning. You're out of the heaviest rain. You're out of the lightning. So places like Moorestown, parts Burlington County, over into Camden, certainly Philadelphia down to Delaware County, Media, where we had the flooding earlier. Now, I also want to bring up, with that being said, we're not talking about active severe weather in these areas that are off to the east. However, there are flood warnings that are in effect in the area. In fact, let me put on just the flood for a moment, and then I'll get back to the tornado warning. Everywhere that you see the blue is an active flash flood warning, okay? And I can tell you, like I said, driving in, I was on the major route. I didn't see any flash flooding where I was, specifically on Route 70, but I could very easily see how creeks and streams and those things nearby are going to rise up rather quickly. So even though it's not raining in your area where we have these flash flood warnings at this time, and you don't have any active thunder and lightning, and you don't have a tornado warning, doesn't mean you're out of the threat for these zones.
One of the tornado warnings, the one to the north, the larger box, has expired.
They did allow that to expire.
Yeah, so it is the original one, the original tornado warned cell that is still under a tornado warning.
Yep, so here we go. So we still have this tornado warning in Millville, and that's a great transition to go and track this out for you. What you're looking at, severe thunderstorm warning for Atlantic County, includes Atlantic City, includes, say, Brigantine, all the way down, probably down there to Ocean City, just right south of that area. And then the active tornado warning that's in effect is this red box. And you heard Kate and Tammie talk about the couplets and looking at the different colors, and they move in a different direction, green toward the radar, red away. And when you have those very close together, that means you got winds in different directions right in one particular spot. You hear the dings here. I'm just looking at these National Weather Service information things. Say it again.
Here's some tracking for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kate. So this is tracking this out, where we're looking at, it's a much improved look at velocity versus what it was looking like earlier, where there were the really clear signatures there. We like that when it's not as clear. That means it's less likely that there's an active tornado on the ground. The clearer it is, the more likely it is. But we have Egg Harbor here around 124. My clock brings it at 117 at the moment. Pleasantville, 130. We're going to take it to Atlantic City around 140. Tammie's just talking about the kids getting let out of school. And, you know, a lot of kids, it's a little early, depending, maybe it's an earlier day, you know. Hopefully this is long gone by the 3 o'clock time that a lot of kids get let out, 2:30, 3 o'clock. But that doesn't mean that the flood threat is going to be over with that as well. So you got Sea Isle City right around 148, and then, of course, once it gets offshore, then you're going to see things. It's offshore, and that would impact the marine environment there, but not anybody here on land. Trees down along Canes Mill Road. That was for Atlantic County, 3 miles southwest of Fulton. That report just coming down as well. And I thought I had one other report to show you there. All right, so let's kind of show you one more time and bring this on up and talk about these storms. The lightning, boy, is it frequent. And there's the other report. I'll give you that in a second. The lightning is going to be prolific, and lightning is extremely dangerous, as you well know as well. We had the fire. You're saying early, Tammie,
Yeah.
you say there was a tree struck a line?
There a line. But you know what, Bill, I just wanted to point out.
Yeah.
My husband's a teacher, Pensauken High School. They had
Yeah.
a half day today.
They did it right.
They did. So there are some schools that did.
Sure.
And that's the big concern, is that you got kids out wandering around or on their way home.
Yeah, and if you guys want to look at if you can scour some of those cameras that we have, see if you can find anything that might be interesting. Looking at, we have that one over the Roosevelt Highway there. That might show something. Of course, the ones in Philadelphia to look around at. Maybe
from
Plymouth
Atlantic
Meeting.
City.
I don't know if that shows. But so again, this storm, if you're just joining us, you're just tuning on in, here we are at 1:19. We have the tornado warning that remains in effect. It is one tornado warning right now. And I'm going to read you some of these reports, one coming down from Montgomery County. The tornado warning, I'm going to put this on with the radar right here, and it is for the one that is down in Salem, or into Cumberland County, and a sliver right here into Atlantic and into Cape May County. It is up until 1:30. We will continue to watch this for you, see what the National Weather Service sees, whether or not they're going to let this expire or cancel it, or continue to move on that tornado warning. They have a severe thunderstorm warning out for this entire area, not just the tornado warning. In fact, if I put the bigger picture on, sometimes when we're talking about tornado warnings and you look at this sliver that's just outside of Millville. Now, you folks in Millville, when it comes to the tornado part of this, you're in the clear. This is east of your area. But you think, okay, well, I'm not in that area, so I shouldn't be worried about it. But this particular weather system has a lot of dangerous impacts, not just a rotating wind reaching the ground, which obviously is a tornado. You have the damaging straight line winds that are moving at 60 miles an hour, if not greater. You have an amazing amount of lightning, hundreds and hundreds of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes from Ocean County right through Burlington, entering Atlantic County, entering Cape May County, rolling out of Salem, rolling out of Cumberland almost. That's what all these lightning strikes are right here. And then, of course, you have the torrential rain and you have the flooding likelihood in many spots. We're looking there at roads. That one seems to be moving, but we've had reports of roads shut down, lanes shut down, everything funneled into one. And the problem with flash flooding is that you see something, you drive the road. I say this a lot. Maybe you live in like a rural area and you have a road that you go down and oh, I see that. I go down that road all the time. I can tell based on the stop sign there that that's only 6 inches deep or whatever. So I'm just going to go for it. And that's so dangerous, because what you cannot see is what's happening underneath that. And you don't know if that road has been taken out underneath. And we've seen this time after time, and someone drives and says, I'm going to go for it. They go through it, and then their car sinks down, and then you have a major life-threatening problem that it was totally avoidable in most cases. So that's what we encourage you to do. Of course, we're looking at this severe weather that's rolling on in. Our Margay cam, I'm going to scan a couple of these cameras in just a few minutes, but anybody down the shore, this is approaching you, the Garden State Parkway. Anybody that's driving north-south on that, give them a call. Maybe they don't know that this line of storms is coming, because it happens rather quickly. It goes from light rain to all of a sudden thunder, lightning, hail, and gusty winds to 60 miles per hour. Tell them to pull over, find a restaurant, get inside of a sturdy building, just get out of the car and get off the road if you can. All right, so here's an update from the National Weather Service on the tornado warning. Okay, so the tornado warning, the one that we're talking about here, let me put it on the screen. I'm just going to show you the area of red. Will expire at 1:30. So the National Weather Service at this point is not going to extend the tornado warning out to Sea Isle City, Margate, Atlantic City, any of these places here. So that's good. But it doesn't mean that we're not dealing with incredible storms. It's just not rotating in this particular part of that storm. So that's good. What do you got?
Atlantic City up on the Skycam.
Oh, do you have Atlantic City up there?
Yeah.
On Max 3?
You can do it on Max 3.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Just pull up the live Skycam and you can see.
Gotcha.
Look at the traffic, though, too.
Yeah. Where are we looking at there? Where is that traffic? Do we know what shot that is? what interstate? It looks like an interstate, right?
It does.
Is that 95?
I don't know what that one is.
Is that the Schuylkill?
Confirm if you guys know what that one is.
Yeah.
Because it looks pretty. It looks like one of the lanes is flooded. I know there was one lane of
470. Okay, so the blue route.
476.
The blue route.
Gotcha.
Clyde Road.
And see, most of the stuff is actually past that already.
Right, exactly.
this is-
Right, and that's the lingering result of that.
Kate found the Atlantic City Skycam, and
Here,
you
I
can
can
see
put
the
it-
buildings, and then you actually can see that flag blowing from the east, and that's part of this. Until this line passes, the winds aren't going to shift. Ahead of this, we saw the east winds and the southerly winds coming in a little bit further to the west over Philadelphia, but now you still have a very strong east wind coming in off of the ocean.
Right, and yeah, you see that exactly. There it is. That flag just whipping in out of the east. What I want to do is I want to give you a track of that main line. Again, the tornado warning is going to expire here at 1:30. At this point, where'd that go? At this point, the National Weather Service is not going to extend that tornado warning out. But let me show you what the radar is looking like, and then let me give you another track on that. Several large trees down in the Andorra part of Philadelphia, 1 mile north of Chaumont. That just came down.
Oh, we
Max-
just switched over to Max 3.
We got Max 3
yeah.
behind us. Okay.
Yeah, everything is lagging for us here.
Yeah, if
no
you go
worries.
over to Weather 3, then
Yep.
you'll be able to track
I'll
that.
put it up right now. We got it there for a second. And I'm looking here. Video of water rushing over the roadways around Yardley. There's that flash flood warning that is in effect there, and it'll come back up in just a moment as this is loading up. Flash flood warning remains in effect. Those flash flood warnings are up until 4:30. That's what we're looking at right here at this particular one. So it takes time for all that water to rush away, and that's why, unlike, say, a tornado warning, when that warning has passed your area, when that threat has passed, that part of the impact, tornado for example, is over. Severe thunderstorm, when that line of severe thunder moves over your area, the strong winds, the large hail, it's done. Flooding is not that way. Flooding is going to continue. It takes a long time, depending on how much water fell, to rush and push things away. And we really have seen an incredible amount of rain with this system. Severe thunderstorm, they've canceled the severe thunderstorm watch as this moved through, so that's a good sign. But what you're looking at here, and this is kind of the next part of the story, because the severe element of this storm is winding down, and again, I will track that for you in just a moment. But now the story is going to become, that's the cancellation of the severe watch. You have all these are rainfall rates in the last 3 hours, last 12 hours, but really coming down over the last 3 of anywhere between probably 2 to 4 inches. 2.4, there's a 2. I mean, it's amazing, guys, how much rainfall fell with this. And again, you get that much water on top of what we already had, a saturated ground from all the rain that we had this week. Keep in mind, some of you folks here in this area, Trenton, over to Bucks County, Burlington, down to sections of Gloucester, had 2 to 4 inches of rain just on Wednesday. So your ground is very saturated, and you get the water on top of that. It's just got nowhere to go. So that's why these reports continue to come down
So Bill,
with the flash flooding.
if you're able to go back to Weather 1 at all, there is a track there, and it's just for the beaches. Oh, sorry, Kate just moved the track to get the warning.
There it is. No, but that's good, because this is
I show you that they only canceled the watch for Pennsylvania. It's still in effect.
Right, okay, so still in effect here, but yeah, they're scaling that watch back, and all the blue is the flash flood warnings that are in effect, and there's a lot of them. So, like the advice has been given, Tammie and Kate both telling you earlier, if you don't have to drive, if you don't have to leave your house, and I know many of you do certainly, but if you don't, it's a great idea to just stay and let this water go away, let these storms pass. These storms now, we tracked it out between about 120 now through about 145, 140. Impacting all the shore locations. And really, there's not anybody immune from this in terms of the lightning, the heavy rain, the very gusty winds, and the possibility of hail. Did you guys get a lot of reports? Did you see a lot of reports for hail? I haven't seen very many
I did.
yet.
Early on, we had quarter-inch size hail. But as this storm intensified, that's when we were concerned about seeing the hail cores.
Sure.
And we did see the hail cores for what could be larger hail. There's the track. It's basically the beach. It's the beach that is now looking for this storm to move through. And it is going to move through and be very loud and very, very windy. I would be concerned if you've got large trees near you. Thankfully, there aren't as many down the shore as there are up toward Philly.
Yeah, tree damage is going to be one of the big problems. And you keep hearing, when you hear that particular alarm that my mic probably picked up, that is something specifically from the National Weather Service that involves severe weather. So that was a severe thunderstorm warning. A new issue they've basically taken this one and pushed it out for Cape May County and Cumberland County as well. And so it's basically the same storm we've been talking about, but now the National Weather Service has pushed it down a little bit farther south. So they've extended it out, but it is still the same line, West Atlantic City, let's just say, right around 120, 130. It's between about 130 and 145, this storm system moving through. And this is another good look at it over the last couple of hours. Behind it, we're in the clear. Lehigh Valley, not only are you out of the rain and thunder threat, you have sunshine behind you. Perhaps some storms firing up this afternoon, but a lot of the energy that's in the atmosphere, that's a new flash flood warning for Burlington County. And that's what we're going to be seeing over the next couple of hours is widespread flash flood warnings issued. No question about that. But yeah, your overall threat is going to be tapering off entirely. Doesn't mean we couldn't get a lone thunderstorm during the afternoon hours, but that threat for widespread severe weather like we are dealing with right now, winding down considerably. And again, you see the sunshine outside as well. Let me give you an update on these flash flood warnings, because it's been a while since we've had this many flash flood warnings. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the labeling here, okay? What I want you to know is that everywhere that you see in blue is an active flash flood warning, and these range from Chester County, I'll probably out near, Callan and Coatesville through Westchester, right down into Wilmington and north Newcastle County. It extends down into Salem County, Gloucester, Camden, all the way up 95. I mean, you're driving 95, it goes all the way to Trenton, Mercer County with the flash flood warning. Bucks County goes back up to about Doylestown or so, and then Montgomery County as well. A tremendous amount of water has fallen. Yeah, guys, it was remarkable how hard it was to see the roads when I was driving in and I was underneath one of those heavy cells.
Now we're looking at a new warning expired, and I think everybody kind of wants to know what's still in place. And I just looked at a report from the last hour, and Dora, that part of Philadelphia, large trees down.
Were they down?
So this is those damaging winds. But we are looking at some of this kind of cutting back very slowly.
So what the National Weather Service, there's right exactly on time, 1:30, the National Weather Service, as they said they were going to do, has lifted the tornado warning. Okay, so we do not have a tornado warning any longer in any part of our area, but we still do have the severe thunderstorm warning that extends all the way up from basically Long Beach Island, the southern tip there of LBI, right down all those shore locations through Avalon.
And they did just issue this new one, Bill, right here for Cumberland and Cape May County.
This one right here. So yeah, we're tracking those winds, and we go back to velocity. You guys were showing that, and we use it a lot of times to look at the rotation in the storms, but it can tell us some of the straight line winds, and you can see it's stronger right in here. Okay, it's just outside of basically Ocean City is what we're looking at there. Can you guys do me a favor on those cameras? Can you look at Ocean City and the Margate West camera? I'd be interested in seeing those. And if you want to pop those up when you get them, maybe on Max 1, and then we'll just
very ominous.
We'll just take Max 1. Let me.
Let's see if we can pull up the quad cam, maybe.
Yeah, the quad cam would be great if you want to load those cameras up there.
We'll see what's on the quad cam right now, because sometimes they change and vary, and so we're just waiting for that to load right now.
Yep, you got it. I'm going to go back and.
So the Poconos, nothing. That's okay. You can see Ocean City, Philadelphia, and Bethlehem. Let me go in and see if I can possibly pull up some of the other. I know Kate's working on pulling up some of the other. Cameras as well.
So I tell you what, so here's what we're going to do, folks. We're going to continue to monitor it. The tornado warning has lifted around the area. You folks down the shore still going to be dealing with the very active severe thunderstorm, the winds that are high, the lightning, and of course the flooding. The flooding is a big part of the story. So because of that, we're going to be with you all afternoon. We're going to dart out of the coverage now with the tornado warning expiration, but we're going to do another cut in at 2. We'll do cut-ins on the hour. I just want you to know that if you don't have to travel, please don't, and if you do, be very mindful of water on the roads. Even if it's a big pond and you're driving at 50, that could, grab the wheel and throw you off to the side of the road. And you can see how slow things are going there on 476, the Blue Route, as we watch this weather system move through. Thanks for joining us here. You've been watching extensive coverage here on CBS News Philadelphia. We will update you if any new tornado warnings are issued. We'll see you back here at 2 o'clock for a cut-in.
Hello, I'm next weather meteorologist Tammie Souza. I want to give you an update on what's going on with this severe weather that's been moving through our area. Tornado warnings, we've had severe thunderstorm warnings, we've had damaging winds, we've had intense lightning, large hail. All of this has moved through the area and is still continuing down the shore. Down the shore in Margate, you can still see some of those ominous clouds. A little bit of clearing though if you look a little further off to the west. Let's take a look in Ocean City. The boards are wet and we still have this storm that is passing by to the north. So that's a bit of a problem there. And if we take a look around the area, Philadelphia right now is relatively dry. The roads are drying out. We look at Ocean City from the sky cam again. There are the ominous skies. And then we look at Bethlehem. The sun has come out. You look fine. And if we look down the shore at the Wildlife Preserve, you can see the ominous skies there and still some raindrops that are falling on the lens. A couple of things to update you about. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is going on in Cape May, but I want to bring your attention to this storm in Sussex County. This is a tornado warning. This goes until about 2:15, and we are watching one of those storms, just like the ones that move through South Jersey and through the Philadelphia area. It has those characteristics of spinning. Now, this is moving fairly slowly. It's moving off to the east at about 15 miles an hour. So if you are in far Sussex County, please take action. Get inside. If you're anywhere near this storm, you may be looking at sunshine outside, and then it may pass over you very quickly, so be aware of that. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning. This expires this afternoon about 2:15 as well, and this one encompasses parts of Cape May. So we're going to be watching for that storm to clear the shore. Here's what's happened. We've watched this intense line held together overnight, came out of the Great Lakes, and now we are actually watching all of this make its way offshore. Of course, some of it is now moving across southern Delaware, and we'll continue to see pieces of it moving off of the shoreline and across southern Delaware. Give it about another half hour in South Jersey and the shore, and you should be clear. Southern Delaware, be aware in Sussex County you do have that tornado warning. We now return you to your programming.